Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another FEM Talk Tuesday. I hope everybody can hear me because the sound just went out on my computer. So I'm going to let the ladies of FEM Talk come in, and then I'm going to go out and come back in. This technology, I tell you, this is how it goes. Something tells me that I should have shut my computer down before I started this. So let all the beautiful ladies of FEM Talk in. Of course, we have a wonderful show for you tonight, as always. So we have the beautiful Shima She Talks. And on my end, it looks like you're not there, Shima, but I know you are. We've got Brandy, you can take over. And I'm going to go out and come back in because everything is frozen on my end. So I'll see you guys back in 1 minute. Take it over, Brandy and Shima.
Let's bring in the Mimi. Hey,
yes.
How
Doing good. I'm doing good.
we have all of us in. Well, we are waiting for Tracy to come back, but we're here. We made it.
We're right back.
I was having the same problems. I understand.
Technology is a beast, but don't we love it?
We do. We do love it. We do love it. Let's admit it does what we needed to do, at least most of the time.
Right.
As we
right.
We just work here.
Right.
But y'all, how was your Thanksgiving? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was so good.
I turned into a child. I wore a onesie. I barely put on any makeup. Barely. But I did nothing. I ate, I talked, I watched the parade. I watched the entire parade from beginning to end.
Yeah, I did not. I watched a whole lot of football. I was very happy about it.
Me too. Yes, and it was really, really good.
Good football. It was a good football.
Good
football. Time. Yes, cooked.
I still think it's rigged. You know why? Because all of those games are entirely too close.
Oh, well.
No.
All of them were one score or less. And like 2 of them were freaking tied games that went into overtime. I'm like, what is going on here?
They were
talking about these things without the NFL's permission. So
well, the Giants game wasn't that close. That
Yeah,
that was
it was a 1-score game. It was 20-28.
Yeah, but at the end, it was kind of a done deal, pretty much.
Yeah.
Sorry. So unless they fixing that one, I can't agree right now.
Hello, the wonderful Trinidad.
We love
football. That was
right, all right. And our beautiful Tracy is back. So you guys know what time it is now, right?
Yes.
Da, da, da. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Here it come, y'all. So, guys, oh my God, I got a humdinger for you today. I ain't even going to explain what's going on. I'm going to play a short video, and y'all just let me know what you get out of this, okay?
Uh-oh is right.
Uh-oh is right. Here we go.
Here we go. Up.
No sound.
Oh, hold on.
What was that?
Did you shake something so the sound could come
Who shook it?
There's some magic.
Sound sharing.
Technology.
I
know, right?
We were just talking.
Can y'all hear it?
No.
Oh, well, tell us a summary.
All right, y'all. So we're just going to drop the link to this a little bit later.
Yeah.
Because the audio does not want to share right now. But here's what's going on, okay? This dude believes that poor people should not have children because it causes the rest of society to have to take up the slack for them.
I can't believe somebody does something so stupid in their lives, And I watched the clip and some of the show, and I think the first woman to ask the question said this: well, how much money should people have in order to have kids?
Right. How much does it?
And that's the question. You know what I'm saying? Is there so now? Not only you tell us what a woman needs to do to the body, but now you're going to tell us how much money we need to have in order to have a child.
Well, he said there should be some criteria, some tests that people have to take. That what I thought was crazy, but some tests that people have to
I can play it if you want to hear it.
To report their income before they have children. But the woman also made a point that what if somebody had great income and they lost their job?
Yes.
Then what? And then they can't.
Now I should get rid of the child, right? Because
get them back, right?
I can no longer afford the child, so I lose the job, I lose the kid.
Right.
But he alluded into this thing of old people too. We shouldn't take care of old people. I said, boo boo, don't get old then. Don't get old.
Yeah.
Your sorry self. When you get old and God forbid something happens to you,
who's gonna take care of you? Exactly.
Who's gonna take care of him?
But I always have to play both sides of this thing though, right? Right. When you think about, because if you listen to some of the things that he said, right, he was referencing the people that just continue to have kids and know that they can't afford the kids. So there's some merit to that statement, right? For those people who live off of the system purposely and intentionally, there is some merit to that. Right. So we have to.
But in what society doesn't? There's haves and haves nots. There's people in all societies worldwide that some don't. So now we're all gonna. I know I grew up. He was talking about latchkey kids. I was a latchkey kid. Mm-hmm. Parents worked and they went to work and we walked in and we opened the door and all that kind of stuff on our own. That's the live. We how many of us grew up in communities where everybody took care of everybody because they knew, moms and dads were working or dad wasn't. We all did that. So to say that you now have a different standard of how you was raised, I know my how I was raised made me a person.
But we think about it this way, though. Latchkey kids might be a little bit different, right? Because your parents were out there doing what they had to do to make sure they can take care of you. There's a difference between doing that and saying, I'm just going to live off of welfare and I'm just going to keep having these kids. There's a difference.
Yeah. And on top of that, too, you used a very key word. You were raised.
Right.
When you're out here going to different restaurants or things like that, and you come across these folks that they don't look in your eye, they don't say, hi, welcome to so-and-so and such and such. How can I take your order? How can I help you? Anything like that. Those were people that weren't raised. And on the result of sort of what this gentleman's talking about, I actually know of people that will have another child to get a bigger apartment as far as government assistance and stuff goes. There has to be a happy medium. I'm not saying he's right, but he's not entirely wrong either.
Yeah.
I think that's life. I think that's the system we live in. You're gonna have a little bit of
it right there. System, right? That's the system we live
in. And I know those. I know some. I grew up with some of those people. That's just what. And some of those and the kids they had, some of them grew up and did something better in life. You know what I'm saying? I think it's you know what? It's one of those things where you don't have a right to tell people what they can do.
Yeah, but Trent said it. She said it best right here. The system is broken. It doesn't teach people how to fish to eat. Instead, they hand out the entire meal. That's the truth right there. That's
good, Trent.
And
yes.
Mindset at a certain level, and it guarantees that certain things will happen repeatedly until you break yourself of that mindset, because they're not going to give you the keys intentionally. System is the system for a reason.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So I could go on and on about this stuff. Right?
Yes.
When you talk about the system, I love that Trent said that, right? Because that's really what it is. Because why aren't the haves teaching the have-nots, right? There's enough. There's plentiful, right? We know that, right? Especially if you believe in God, there's plenty. So why are more people not teaching people how to fish? So
why are more people not paying attention to the people that are teaching people how to fish also?
That's true. That's very true.
Well, you can, right.
We actually
isn't that thing, lead them to water, you can't make them drink.
Exactly.
I mean, but at least impart the knowledge. I mean, isn't that what everybody on this screen is a mentor? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Give the knowledge.
Yeah.
But if the people don't take it, at least you gave it.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But that also is a part of the system, right? Psychologically, right? We're made to believe certain things.
They're already built to deter it or to ignore it.
Yeah,
that part. But now it's time for a short break, and when we get back, what's our topic today, ladies?
You tell it.
All right,
we
y'all.
We have one of our own. The beautiful, the lovely, the intelligent, the awesome Ashley Simmons.
All right,
share some good information with us and just have a good old conversation. Can't wait.
Oh my God, what's going on over here?
I got you, Brandy. I got you now.
All right, you do it.
So what was this in the back?
All right, y'all. Let's bring this one and most beautifulest, Ashley Simmons. Welcome to the show, Ashley.
Hello. I have my own microphone. I found this in my
Oh,
house.
you are professional. Yes, Ashley. You're still
Yes.
better than all of us right now.
I know you can tell I just at another level. Just at another level. Hello, Ashley. How are you today?
I'm doing all right today. How are you?
Oh, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. How was your Thanksgiving?
I had a good time. Spent some time with my family, ate some good food, took a nice nap. It was great.
Awesome.
See, that's the proper way to do it.
That's how you do it. That's
That's how
right.
you do it.
Well,
So,
first and foremost, I'd like to thank you for joining us this fine evening. We are definitely excited to have you, as you can see.
Thank you.
absolutely. And for those of you out there who don't know, Ashley Simmons is one of our own because she is the daughter of Melissa Simmons.
Yay!
Yes.
That's my twin. That's my twin over there.
That's right. So we want
Yes.
to get into this topic. So first of all, we didn't even have your mom really introduce you and tell everybody out there what you do. So Mimi, if you want to take it away and introduce your beautiful daughter.
Absolutely. If I didn't know how, I would still just be all her in terms of just wanting to be by her because she's such a talent. Ashley Simmons, she went to Seton Hall University. There, she out with a degree in arts and design and graphics and production. So once she left, she worked in industry for a couple of years and then had a wonderful opportunity. She could tell how she got that opportunity to start working for the NBA. So for the last few years, she has been with the NBA. She has worked in various different positions there in the NBA, but her love for the WNBA never went away. During the off season for the NBA, she always raised her hand and said, I want to join the WNBA team. Through her efforts, she was able to also go to the bubble with them a few years ago when we were all in lockdown. She spent time there and participated with them in the bubble and and really saved the season. Her and others went there, and the WNBA and the NBA did that also. She also was able to go to the Olympics with the Olympic team, the women and Olympic team. So she participated in the Tokyo Olympics a couple of years ago. Due
Yes.
to all of her awesome efforts and in the higher ups recognizing her talent, they asked her if she would join the official WNBA team and become a production manager. She is now one of the key people with the WNBA. She works with production and promoting of the WNBA team and players. So we have with us tonight Ashley Renee Simmons.
Woo!
Hey, she gave the whole government name.
The whole government. It's all
But
good.
I just have to say something because she was sitting there so humbly, like
Yes.
that's a lot, Ashley. So I
Yes.
just want to give you your kudos, your accolades. Like I'm banging on the
Thank
desk
you.
here because you are a young woman who is really doing your thing, and it just makes us proud as parents, as Black women, to see you, at your age doing what you're doing. So you're just sitting there so calm, but
Yeah.
I give you some love on that one.
Thank you. I
A
appreciate
lot.
it.
Yeah, it's a lot. So
Awesome.
your mom was talking about how you got into the WNBA and how that all went about. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always loved basketball growing up. That was just something I loved to do, loved to watch, loved to be around. So it was always a passion and a love of mine. Um, Fast forward to college, I was a manager of the women's team at Seton Hall and got a lot of experience. Was really exposed to the business of basketball, which I don't think I really understood as a kid. And that's when I was introduced really to like sports media and understood that landscape. So that was a really great experience for me. I had a great time at Seton Hall, being the manager there, learning a lot about what goes on behind the scenes. And then I spent a year after college doing an HR job for a charity, and it just wasn't my thing. I just wanted to find a way to get back to basketball and get back to sports. Um, and was able to get an interview with the NBA in an entry level position. A fun story about that. My brother cheered in high school, and his high school cheer coach also worked at the NBA, and we were able to give her my resume, and she brought me in for an interview. Was able to get the job. Yeah, and that's kind of just started my journey now. I spent about a year being on like the entry level position, being a production trainee and then production assistant. On the NBA side, just went in doing a lot of things on like for their nightly games on a nightly basis. We would be there and we'd be watching the games and doing work archiving and categorizing the different things throughout the games. Fast forward, I really wanted to start editing. I was a film major in college, so editing was also a passion of mine. So I did a lot of editing and I was able to just kind of work my way up. But I always wanted to do WNBA too. So I made sure that everyone knew that I was very interested in doing the WNBA along with NBA. And I was able to get like create great relationships with people on the WNBA league side. And was able to really just like work and network my way up to a position within the WNBA league office where I'm at now. And it just about to finish like a full year in the league office. So I'm really excited about that.
Yay.
So,
Nice.
just for informational purposes, could you please share with the audience how old you are, Ashley?
I'm 30 years old. I just turned 30 this year.
Woo.
Woohoo!
I mean,
Yeah, you accomplish more than some 50 and 60-year-olds. I'm like, oh my God, it's
Yeah.
just getting started.
And
isn't that awesome? And you know, like I said, if she wasn't my daughter, somebody I like to follow. This would be someone
Right.
I'd be liking
Yes.
on Facebook, on on Instagram, because it's just the interest story you're talking about, Ashley. Tell us a little bit about what happens behind the scenes. We all see the games, you know, watch the games, and you know, a lot of people don't know what goes into making that happen. I know many cousin and a guy talks about you have the dream job, but really talk about what that job really entails. People think, you know, they see the glitz and the glam and they think that's all it's about. But tell us what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'll give my experience in like the path I was in because just I mean sports just sports media or sports productions is such a big world. Like every aspect of what you think of as content or marketing or social media, like it's all ingrained into sports production. So it's a very vast world. But I'll just share my experience because that was really cool. Because I came in as a production trainee in NBA entertainment, which is a sector of the NBA, but basically anything revolving around content and production goes on at NBA Entertainment. And what I did, my entry level job was called a logger. Basically, we would go to the offices at night, and our main priority or our main objective every night watching game is to be able to like categorize every moment that happens, because the main goal is we're building an archive within the NBA. Every game, everything that has to do with an NBA player, WNBA player, G League player, 2K player, junior, like it's all being captured in some way, whether it's a live game or whether it's a practice, like everything's being captured. And in well, we'll use the Last Dance as an example. There have been people out on the in the fields shooting behind the scenes and capturing moments in games, and you want to be able to have all those moments ready and available when it is time to make a type of movie or docu-series like The Last Dance, so you can see what really happened during Michael Jordan's last year with the Bulls. So those moments are captured by loggers when you first come in to the NBA and you start working. So I could be watching a live game and let's say Steph Curry, who's my favorite player. Steph Curry, he's like going off for threes. Like every shot that he takes, like you're capturing that moment. You're writing a little description. You're giving it a rating, and then you move on to the next moment. So it's really like it's a very intensive. I compare it to like a competitive internship because you come in and none of your jobs are guaranteed. Like you kind of have a year to prove yourself and show that like you're worth keeping. And when if you're able to do that, you'll be able to like move on and on and on and go into again different worlds. There are so many different worlds, even just in production, whether it's like um managing a set, whether it's organizing a shoot. There's so many different things and different lanes that you can go down when it comes to production, but that's just like how I started. And then because I wanted to edit, I'm able to basically take the footage that I logged, whether it's a game or whether it's a like you're at a player's home and just trying to get behind the scenes and spending time with them and interviewing them. Like I want to be able to use that footage and then create a feature, create a high end highlight mix of like that player. So that was my experience just getting in and a little bit of like the behind the scenes and how things work.
Wow.
Wow. So can I say
Wow.
something too? Because she just like, so calmly went past this
Yeah.
stuff. But just listening to, your story and how you were so persistent and how you, first of all, how you left HR and went after what you really wanted. Got to give you a ding on that one. So for any of the young people out there that are listening to this, please take note to that, take heed to that. That's right, ring the bell. And then to start as a logger, which seemed like a big job in and of itself, but to start as a logger and then to continue to push forward because you knew you wanted
Mhm.
more right within that space because you loved the space and you just kept going and you kept going. So even though you just kind of like said that so nice, like that's there's something to be said about that and something for, people that are coming behind you to really pay attention
Yes.
to. Do not give up on your dreams. So thank you for that because you just
Yeah.
pushed through and you persisted. Girl, it's a lot. No, really
It is.
big. It's big. So
And when you're telling it, you're making people, you're intriguing them because you're not sugarcoating it. You're not making it fluffy and wonderful. You're
yeah,
letting them know, I wanted this, but it wasn't given to me. It
yeah,
wasn't I rubbed a few elbows and I got it. You're
yeah,
really showing them that this is how you do it. And
yeah,
it can be done and you can do it too, type thing.
yeah.
That's what I'm hearing every time you speak
Yeah.
about another level that you hit, another um, job that you've taken. Especially when you said you may not be picked. You got a year to show yourself.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what the people need to hear because they
Yeah.
don't need to know that limelight is easy to get.
Yeah. And
Right.
I would just say like that's why I always say it's important to like at least for me, the type of person I am, it's very important for me to work in my passion because I wouldn't
Mhm.
be able to do this or have the same amount of drive or same vision if I worked in a different industry and that I didn't care about. A check is nice, but like that's not something that's going to motivate me and make me want to get out of bed every morning. Like I want to be able to work in something that I love, so it's easy to want to like grind for it and try to achieve more.
I
Ring the
love that.
bell, Melissa. Ring the bell.
Ring it again. And again, knowing the story, obviously, um, and people watching it, they hear, "Oh wow, you were gay," and I think they want to see the glitz and the glam of it. But now, like you all are saying, they hear the grind, the work. She
Mhm,
could have been cut, but
That's right.
mhm,
she could have, every year, for a while, every year they reevaluate everybody on staff.
mhm.
So there were, ways. Tell us about, in talking about that, Ashley. Tell us how you were able to go to the Olympics. I mean, was everybody able to go to the Olympics? And if not, how did you get to go? Because again, that I think that talks about the grind. That talks about what you had to do to even be recognized that way.
Yeah. All right. So give a little bit of background. So there are, especially with the NBA, it's a global game, and there are a lot of cool trips that are available. I'll say not really available, but a lot of cool opportunities that you can have, especially working at the NBA with different trips. Whether it's the All Star Game, there are a lot of global games, and events like that. NBA Finals. That's like the things
Mhm.
that like when you're shooting, you're out in the field, or even if you're just a part of like the regular staff, like those are like events that you always wanted to attend. So I
Mhm.
was at the NBA in 2016 when everyone went to was it Rio, the Olympics? It was in Rio, I think, in 2016. And those are just one of those trips where it's like everyone wants to go. It's one of the big ones, and they only choose a couple of people to go and work it. So in 2016, I started campaigning for Tokyo 2020. Like I would always tell that to my boss. Like I would leave like sticky notes on his desk, like Ashley 20 Tokyo 2020. Like it was just something I really wanted to go to Japan. Like it was just like so cool to me. So I was like, like I got to get on that trip. Like I know I got to get on that trip. So I just keep working. Blah blah blah. Fast forward, and chaos ensues in 2020, and the pandemic happens. And but I'll say that me going to the bubble, so because I was very heavy in WNBA, it was almost like a gimme that, of course, I would go to the WNBA bubble. Like, it was just like, well, someone has to formally ask Ashley if she's going to go, but everyone knows that Ashley's going to go. It was like kind of one of those situations. But I will say that kind of laid the groundwork of like me building relationships and me showing and proving like, hey, no, like if you put me in this scenario, I'll be able to really work and like get a good product out here. I'm not just going to go to just like have fun. Like I'm really going to work. And I was able to prove that in a crazy scenario and a pandemic that went on for 3 months. So fast forward to when it was time to choose for Tokyo. I felt like I campaigned enough for like 4 years, and then I had bubble experience already because Tokyo was going to be another kind of bubble experience. And actually, just crazy how things end up. One of the people that I tried to like, I used to early on when I first started the NBA, there's this one editor, this woman that like I would always bug. I always go in her edit room and watch her edit. And she ended up leaving the NBA, but she ended up going to USA Basketball, and she became the creative director over there. So, and it was someone I always bugged. I call her my mentor now. We have a great relationship, and she was also one of the people who advocated like, yeah, Ashley should be on this trip. So that's kind of how I got to Tokyo in 2021, and was able to work the Olympics. It it was not easy because it was still the pandemic, and of course around that time Japan was in Tokyo specifically was spiking, so they had us pretty shut down, and it was a tough kind of like situation to be in, but it's something that I'm always going to have. I was able to shoot 2 gold medal games, which is people just don't do that, and I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for that. And I had a really good time and a really great experience.
You got to see a lot of history.
That
Yeah.
sounds like
Gold medal. I
manifestation
mean, I
at its
remember
best.
as a kid, you used to just watch the Olympics, and she was there at the gold medal games. Who does that? I mean,
Yeah.
just again, I'm a fan. I'm a fan, and I know you.
Right.
But that was manifestation.
Yeah.
Ashley did that at its
Right.
best, right? With the sticky notes, and she called for all of that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you call for it, He'll give it to you. It may not be in the timing
Okay.
that you think, but He'll give it to you. So girl, I don't even know what to say. And you're in the best sport ever. I just have to say that. Sorry for all the football fans out there. Basketball is the best sport.
It
best
is.
sport. Best sport.
It's a
But
great one.
a little bit
I'm
of
a
a
former
fast
gymnast,
forward.
so I have to argue with that.
We'll do that. Maybe you'll come back, Ashley, and and go around. What's the best sport for us? Because we can
Yeah.
go on that one. But Ashley, a little bit fast forward. So now you're working with the WNBA. Tell us specifically what are you doing there, and and how are you kind of pushing the new the WNBA platform, because one of the things I just recently read is that the numbers for the WNBA has been the best ever.
Hmm.
The viewership, those that are watching it, it's 4 high for the league. So tell us a little bit about what's going on and what are some of the things that are happening there that's really exciting.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think where I want to start. So I'll just start my position, my title. I'm the creative content strategist for the WNBA, and I sit under the marketing department, where basically my objective is to create custom, long form, high end content for us to utilize in whatever way that seems fit. So I'm able to like come up with different series and come up with different interview type of scenarios, or whether it's kind of overseeing the field production we do during our season, and just create really good video content from that, and to be able to do it for our social platforms, and hopefully going forward for maybe even longer form type of distribution. So like that's kind of the goal, and that's my job, is to really push player stories. That we want people to know who our athletes are, want people to understand who they are completely as human beings, not just as athletes on the floor, but as just like a whole person. So we try to find ways to just tell their stories in creative ways. So that's kind of like my job. I'm a part of like kind of a new wave of people who are coming into the WNBA league office. I think you could say about, I'll say like 4 years ago, there were probably like staff like solely the WNBA. It was probably around 20 people, 15 to 20 people in the league, in their league office, because WNBA is supported by NBA, so you do get to share some resources, but for the most part, just solely WNBA is probably like 15 to 20. Now we're about 35 to 40, so it's doubled in that time, and I've been a part of that new regime. There's probably been about 20 hires this year alone.
Wow.
um, and the goal is really just to elevate the league and to elevate everything we do from the top down, and really give this league the love that it deserves, and that it well earned years and years and years ago. Um, and yeah, it's been really fun to try to do different things and introduce different ideas, and have just like new energy and like new ideas within the league office, just to make sure that our athletes are taken care of properly.
Ah, awesome, awesome. What is some of the players? Tell us some of the players that y'all are highlighting now.
Yeah. So we have so many legends. Sue Bird and Sylvia Fowles just retired, legends of our game. We still have, some OGs, Candace Parker, Diana Taurasi, who are still playing. So of course that, and then we have kind of our new era of superstars, and Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart, um, and the Las Vegas Aces, who just won a championship this past season, that features some really great dynamic people like Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, Dearica Hamby. And one thing that we do, which is really cool, it's an initiative that was brought on about 2 years ago. But during our off season, so fun fact, our off season is longer than our season. It's just like the way that the calendar set up, and when they first created the league, that's just we play in the summer, and that's kind of just how it goes. So our season usually runs from May to October, and then so from mid October to mid May is our off season. So it's longer. So we have to try to find ways to make sure that people don't forget about us, keep people engaged. And so an initiative was created about 2 or 3 years ago, where we pay our athletes, some like we pay a handful of athletes to stay in markets, to stay on the state side, because majority of our players do go play overseas, in Turkey, Australia, and a whole bunch of different countries, in the off season, so they can continue to make money, and continue to play basketball. But we started to select players to stay stateside, and we pay them, and we utilize them in our marketing agreements, in a marketing agreement where we're able to like showcase them throughout the off season, whether in appearances, or taking them places, or doing clinics with them in their hometowns, or in the towns they went to school in. So this season, or this off season, we have 10 athletes that we are keeping in. So names like Arike Agumbawale, who was like the star of, what was it, 2019 NCAA tournament, with the crazy, she had two buzzer beaters to win the whole thing for Notre Dame. So a player like her, Kalia Copper, who's from Philly actually, and won a championship with the Chicago Sky 2 years ago. Now, Dearica Hamby, who I mentioned, Nafisa Collier, who we actually just did a really cool series on. She actually gave birth this year to her daughter Mila, and we were able to document that all throughout her pregnancy, and then her having her. So like that's a really cool, and things that I get to do, like stuff like that. But we have a whole bunch of athletes. Dee Dee Richards, who's my mom's favorite. We have her on she was in New York Liberty. We have her on a player marketing deal, so it's just fun to like work with these athletes and be able to tell their stories in the off season as well.
I love it.
I
I
love
have a
it.
question.
Yeah.
So you're constantly operating in the present with the future in mind. How does that like help you with like planning your life as you keep taking these major leaps forward?
Ooh, I don't really plan my life. I don't know, kind of just go with the flow. I don't like to look too far ahead because you just really never know where God's going to take you. So I
Right?
just kind of I try to stay as present as possible. But yeah, like I just know like things that I want to achieve. Not that it's like bound by a date or by like a
Mhm.
time, but I just know that there are things I want to achieve. So just staying focused on those goals and allowing them to happen when they do is kind of how I kind of like plan around that. And from however the journey goes, I'll be able to know make moves in my personal life as well. And I don't know, just figure it out one day at a time. I try not to look too far ahead. It's too scary to look too far ahead.
All we have
I
is
like
love the way you operate.
I
yeah.
like. I was gonna say. I like that you said you want to at least enjoy the moment, live in the
Yeah.
moment, because you do have a very fast paced and a vast
Yeah.
job. So as long as you are getting some enjoyment out of
Yeah.
it,
That's all that matters.
that's
Ooh,
right.
I
That's
did have
right.
another question. Because you said the WNBA, the eyes on the sport is growing now, finally. Do you think that maybe some of that the attention, the I won't say upheaval, but just the attention that was brought to women's sports by the US soccer women's soccer team what contributed to this?
Mhm.
Because I know I freaking love Megan Rapinoe.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is a great correlation. And
Yeah.
something that I like about women's sports too, there's a lot of cooperation amongst all of the athletes, the female athletes, no matter what sport they play. Do you get to see that in action?
Yeah, I mean, well, Megan Rapinoe, I mean, she kind of has a cheat coach, obviously engaged to Sue Bird, so she's able to go to a lot of games and be around. But like, you are starting to see a lot more of the collaboration when it comes to different women in sports, like Naomi Osaka, excuse me. She was wearing WNBA jerseys while she was warming up when she's preparing for the U.S. Open 2 years ago. You see her attending Liberty games. Same thing with like talking about soccer, Gotham FC plays right in New Jersey. They've come to New York Liberty games and vice versa. So you definitely see the collaboration and yeah, like US soccer was really kind of like the spark plug of like the new wave of like support when it comes to women's sports. And then I think the CBA negotiations that the WNBA were able to get and their increase in pay was able to then influence soccer back. So it's like it's kind of like a give and take of like you guys accelerate, you guys achieve a milestone. All right, we'll got your back. We'll do something else so they can keep elevating. So then you see how many people are investing in women's soccer team now, and eventually expansion is going to come to the WNBA as well. So it's like it's a great give and give, not even a give and take, just a give and give between the two leagues, and it's going to affect everything. It's going to affect women's hockey. It's going to affect women's lacrosse and volleyball and softball. Like it's all gonna add together to continue to build this like great women's sports landscape that's really growing, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to see it in this stage right now.
Most definitely.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I hate to tell you, you just spoke into the future. I know. We were talking about staying in the moment, but you just put it out
a
there.
little bit.
A little bit. I love it.
But I love that you're talking about how so many people like Robin Roberts is like she's always at the WNBA games. I know the ones in the city and stuff like that. So having that kind of those notable people kind of really pushing. I always love to see the NBA men come and support, and that's been. Tell us a little bit about that collab because that really I've seen more men go into the game now and really support the women players. So how does that happen? Is that something that they've been acting, but they just have a, that we're all together in this kind of thing?
Yeah, no, it's very organic. I don't think anyone's ever asked an NBA player to please come to our games. I think they just want to go. A lot of them are friends as well. I mean, USA basketball, they all like have been a part of like those type of environments when you're together as a country. So they create a lot of bonds there. That's why you see a lot of them as friends. We have a couple of crossover when it comes to our markets. Like Minnesota is owned by the Minnesota Lynx and the Minnesota Timberwolves are owned by the same ownership group. Same thing with the Washington Mystics and the Washington Wizards. It's the same ownership group. So you see a lot of collaboration there because they're in the same market. The Sparks and the Lakers aren't a part of the same ownership group, but they play in the same building along with the Clippers. So you see, like, they're all around each other a lot. And they all kind of grow up in this small basketball world. Like, basketball is big, but the world is kind of small. It's all the same people. Like, they're all in the same kind of circuits and they have the same agents. So it's very organic for them to have relationships and then them to support. And WNBA games are just fun. So like it's a great environment, especially when you want to bring your family or you just want to have like a nice night out. And it's just it's a fun game to witness to. So I think a lot of it is organic and that's what makes it great. And then of course like the NBA and WNBA, obviously like it's the same organization essentially. So you're going to see the love and support on both sides.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, Ashley, any other questions? Because I can ask Ashley questions all
I have one, right? But I have one. So because you've been talking about all the collaborations, even the fact that some of the players are getting paid in their off season, do you think that now we're starting to bridge the gap between the disparity of like, salaries, resources, training for the WNBA versus the NBA? Like they're starting to bring that together?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything, takes time. I feel like this is a talking point. It's like the NBA was on tape delay in the 80s, during the crazy time of the Magic and Bird era. Like people forget that like it was on a tape delay at that time. Like they weren't even really live. So everything takes its time. Obviously, we're not in that era anymore. So, people like kind of expect a different acceleration. But it still takes time to kind of build those stones. The NBA is celebrating its 77th season and the WNBA is in 27. We're going into 27 next year. So they have a 50-year, head start on us and they figured things out. But I see a ton of growth in the women's sports landscape. I think in a couple of years, broadcasting rights will be up again. And I think you're going to see a major increase in the support that you'll see for the WNBA specifically when it comes to like where the games will be and how accessible they will be to fans, because that's a big thing. Like when you put it on TV, people watch. You see it across obviously WNBA, but you see it in women's soccer. They just had one of their first like national games on CBS in like forever. It's crazy. Like I don't even think it ever happened for them to be like on prime time. Like so, it's like you see the tide turning towards it. So that's what's going to bridge the gap. It's just the opportunity and it's the time, the actual investment in it. And you're seeing a lot more. There are a lot of great partners of the WNBA, like Google, Deloitte, Nike, who have really invested into the league. But there was just a capital raise last year that a whole bunch of people, invested $75 million into the WNBA to continue doing that. And it's only going to make the product better. And that's what's going to get the players paid more. And and just money all around. So let's go green.
Yeah.
That's right.
On this Forbes.
We have a question from Shima's mom. She wants to know if you met LeBron James.
I've been in the same room as LeBron, but I haven't like shook his hand and said, "Hi, I'm Ashley Simmons." Like I haven't done that, but I've seen him before. I've seen him a handful of times.
Yeah.
On that notion, what was your best NBA moment that you've had, or NBA moment you've had over the years? What's your like number one moment?
I always tell the story of so I think it was my first trip too. So my first trip I ever went on, which is like always a big deal when they send you out in the field and do a big event, was NBA All Star in 2017, I believe. It was in New Orleans, and so I'm at the All Star game. It's the day of the game. I'm in the arena, kind of like, the tunnels. I'm standing in one of the tunnel areas, like right on the floor, kind of just like waiting for things to happen. I don't know why I was in that area. I probably shouldn't have been, but I was just standing there kind of waiting for someone. And all of a sudden, like there was like a kind of like a rush of security, and they're telling everybody, all right, like move towards the walls, like create space. And like the first thing that came to my mind is, oh my gosh, like the president is here, like President Obama is here. Like that's like what was going through my head. And then all of a sudden Beyonce walks by.
I knew it was a Beyonce story.
And anyone who knows me knows that I love Beyonce, and I was just like shocked. Like I couldn't believe that it was like Beyonce just like walking by me. So it has absolutely nothing to do with an NBA player or a WNBA player. It's the Beyonce story. That's one of my favorites.
I was waiting. I said, "This is a Beyonce story."
Ashley, I have to say this. I know we share the same sentiment. We talked about this at a Girl Bossed Up event, but I absolutely love B as well.
Yes.
Most of my friends don't, but you know what? I'm with you, girl. I'm giving you a high five because I love her too.
Yeah, no, I love Beyonce. So yeah, that's my NBA story. Beyonce walked by me one time.
It's NBA related. It's
NBA related.
Right.
They coming in front row, right?
Right.
Beyonce came to my job. That's what you said.
Exactly.
Yeah. Before we get to the end of tonight's show, we did want to take a moment to wish Chadwick Boseman a happy heavenly birthday today. It is his birthday. We want to take time and pay homage to him and just be thankful that we have all of his wonderful works and his words of wisdom while he was here as well. And of course, if you haven't seen Wakanda Forever, do that. I haven't been to see it yet, but still, I'm gonna do that.
A beautiful, of course, I went to see it already because I'm a Marvel fan too, but they pay a beautiful tribute to Chadwick. Right, Melissa, if you saw, so
absolutely.
Everybody go out there and see the movie, and I could say so much about Black Panther and all of that and everything that they've done for both movies, but we don't have time. However, Ashley, we love you. You have to come back because I know there's more for you to tell.
Of course, there's so many stories.
Absolutely. You definitely have to come back and visit us because just hearing you speak, and I don't know. I know you said you're not looking too far ahead, but I just want the young people to pay attention to Ashley Simmons, okay? Because if there's anyone to emulate, this young lady is one of those people that you want to make sure that you are following. Listen to go back and listen to the recording and listen to some of the things that she said. This young woman has persevered and she is living the life of her dreams and doing what she loves. So I want the young people to pay attention to. So this has been another episode of Fem Talk, everybody. We thank you for being here. We will see you next Tuesday evening at 8:30 p.m. right here on Fem Talk, E360 TV, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We love you and we'll see you next week.